We're here today in Oklahoma with Ms. Susan Johnson, who's president of National Voter Outreach. Ms. Johnson, can you tell us why you're here today?
I am here in the heartland of the country to stop efforts that are underway to keep Americans from voting.
What do you mean?
Well, if you go to stopthevote.com, it'll explain everything in great detail. But basically, there are two parts to the problem. First, there are the judicial and political elite who want to stop certain kinds of petitions from making the ballot. And they oppose that in every way they can. And their second part of the problem are blockers.
What are they?
Well, blockers are people, they come in two kinds of categories. Basically, they're hired as professionals to place themselves between the circulator and the potential signer of a petition, or the voter, and prevent them from actually signing the petition. If that doesn't work, a blocker might go into a retail establishment and ask to speak to the manager. And they're posing as a customer.
Really?
They will tell the manager that they are a customer and they're being harassed by someone outside collecting petitions. Well, the manager doesn't have any idea what's really going on, and they'll frequently call the police or either have security eject them from the premises.
They call the police?
Well, obviously police aren't paid by the opposing forces of any petition drive, but the police may actually, or the government, because they're opposed to an issue like tax cuts, like Tabor was, will frequently use their authority to intimidate circulators.
How so?
Well, they will go to an establishment where circulators go. They like to congregate where people congregate, like retail shopping malls and grocery stores and places like that. And they will look for them, and they will go to them, and they will ask for their ID and detain them while they check them for warrants or past problems.
So are you saying that the police are prohibiting direct democracy?
That's exactly right. In the case of Tabor in 2006, it was a lot easier for the opponents to stop the vote than to let it make the ballot, because it was wildly popular, and it absolutely would have won at the ballot. So the only way to keep it off the ballot was to stop it.
Who are petition gatherers?
Petition circulators are average Americans. They're a cross-section of this country. I've hired professors, teachers, waitresses. I've hired them all. I've hired the unemployable.
You hired the unemployable?
That's right. For instance, I've hired a man who broke his neck in a car accident, and all he can do is sit in a wheelchair. And he sits outside of the store and he collects signatures, and he can do that. And I feel good about that.
So you help people no one else will?
Well, it's easier to do because these projects are temporary in nature, and so we hire people who are in temporary problems. They need to make their car payment or pay their electricity bill or raise a little extra money for Christmas. That's what we do. We help those kinds of people looking for an little extra bit of money. It's easier for the opposition to take people in need and malign their character and defame the messenger versus arguing the message in a public forum.
So what you're saying is the occasional worker, the housewives, and those back from the down and out are being prohibited from working by police abusing their authority as well as the politically elite?
That's exactly right. There's strong opposition out there that the people are not aware of.
So what you're saying is the press has given an incorrect picture of who these people really are. John Edwards was just ridiculed for charging a university $55,000 to give a speech to college kids about poverty. But people have to earn money to run for president. It's the same thing with ballot measures?
I think that people don't understand that political speech, free speech, is something that can still be part of our everyday life as Americans. We don't have time to leave our children and our homes and go out on the weekends. And we need 300,000 signatures here in Oklahoma in 90 days. And I would much rather give $50 to a contribution than I would going out and standing out in the sun in front of Walmart or the Piggly Wiggly. So I think that there's a lot of people that are the same way. We don't have time in today's society. It takes 5 months to pay our taxes, let alone going out and circulating something we really believe in. So we'd rather make contributions. And what that means is someone has to be paid to do it. We have to purchase an agent to speak for us on our behalf. And that's how it works.
So that is direct democracy. It evolved from people in public squares, and then after the war, when people moved to the suburbs and no one was coming to the public square, and the public square went the way of the buggy whip. And so the petition gatherers have to go where people are. Well, I understand now, so of course you go where the people are. And yet there's a bias for this when everyone else, including judges running for re-election, run campaigns. Is that correct?
That's absolutely true. Circulators used to work in the town square, where people went from business to business on foot on public sidewalks. Today people get in their cars and they go from private parking lot to private parking lot to get their groceries or their clothes or whatever they're looking for. And so circulators are forced to go onto private property to find the voters. And that means that the places for circulating are shrinking. And it really affects how this job is done. We need a whole lot more circulators to try and find those signatures than we ever did in the past.